welcome to our presentation on motivating students. I want to give credit to Dr. Elaine Hume at Azusa Pacific University for the information in this particular slide, or in these slides. So our question is, how do we design our learning experiences so that students are internally motivated to learn? We're going to specifically discuss the self-determination theory by Ryan and Deci, and I've attached an article by them that'll hopefully help with this a little bit if you're internally motivated to read it. So there are two different types of motivation: intrinsic, well actually there's three. There's amotivation, which means somebody's not motivated, then extrinsic and extrinsic motivation. So internal motivation is the intrinsic, extrinsic is they're externally motivated. So the internally motivated, I'm just going to say internal and external, it's easier for me to say. The internally motivated individual it's based just on they just love doing that thing, that task or whatever that thing is, that behavior. For me, the example of this is cycling. I'm a cyclist and I love being out on my bike. I just get pleasure and joy from it. Plus I also like to push myself physically, see what I can do, see if I can do 50 miles on a day, or I can do more hills or whatever, all those type of things that gets me internally motivated to do that. I don't need other motivations to do it. I just do it because of the satisfaction, the physical ability of doing that. Now with external motivation, this is where they are being motivated by either rewards or punishments. And so we can think in classes, this can be grades. If we're thinking in athletics, it can be playing time for student athletes. Maybe in athletic training, it could be travel with a team. So those type of things. So internal or external. Another slide just to reinforce what was just said is that a person can be amotivated, extrinsic, or intrinsic motivated. So they either have motivation, they are motivated from external pressures, and that's going to be pretty wide. That's what that slide is trying to show. There's multiple different ways for a person to be externally motivated, and then the internal motivation. And what we're going to talk about is what creates intrinsic motivation. There's an acronym to help us remember this. It's CAR. And so the C is competence, the A is autonomy, and the R is relatedness. And what we'll talk about what each means, and then how we can design our courses so a student will potentially be internally motivated. We can set up everything, but it's really still up to him or her. So competence. As you would think from the word, it just means that the person believes that they can be successful to do the thing. And our thing is they feel successful. They believe that they can be successful in the class. And so how do we build that? For some people, that is they had previous success in previous classes. So K through 12, they were good students. But we can still build competence in a person who has not been successful in the courses. I go back to an example I've used before, is a person who doesn't believe they can do math. They just have that fixed mindset that they don't believe they're a math person. There are ways that we can build competence in that person. One way is the assignments are at our optimal level for them to be successful. That doesn't mean we dumb down the material. That doesn't help either. It just gives the person the opportunity to demonstrate mastery in the area. So for our math example is maybe they need to start at a certain level of math and slowly build up competence in the math area. And again, the teacher obviously has to be a good teacher and help them along that process. Other way we can help students is give them relevant and timely feedback, especially on their assignments. I try to do this myself, is try to give you relevant. We're going to talk about feedback in a specific presentation about the type of feedback we should give students and how frequently we should give feedback. I believe in trying to get you feedback as quick as possible, just because I know it's helpful, especially in a 6-week course like this. I want you to know, yeah, you did really well on this. Here's some things you can still improve on. All right. We talked about strengths in one of the other presentation. So if we know a student has certain talents and we have certain strengths, we can help build those, use those talents and strengths for competence, to teach them how to use their own strengths and talents to be successful in a class. Another thing that helps build competence in a student is that we need to know the students, and we need to know how they learn. What kind of learning styles do they have? Are they more audio learner? Are they more? Do they learn by reading? Do they learn by doing? Hopefully somebody will pick learning styles in their signature choice assignment, because that's a really good area and good to write lessons for. We also need to tell students how to be successful in the course. Provide the information. For example, for this particular course and this program in general, I've tried to tell students some just general ideas of how to be successful in our expectations of graduate students that I have in a Moodle orientation course. And one way is make sure you put time in your schedule each day. You don't have to come to campus for a class, but you can schedule time in your schedule that you're doing something with your coursework. Other ways, how you study. I mean, it may not be a feature for here in this grad program, but it may be. Are you distracted when you're doing your coursework? Maybe you need to unplug. It's just those things. Telling people how to be successful is important. We talked about the growth mindset. Encourage that. Focus on the learning. Don't focus on the grades. And another critical one is connect the course to areas of student interest. And for their future goals, what do they want to do in a job? So that means you have to get to know the students. You can do this by asking those type of questions. And if it's like, and the good thing about it, our athletic training courses, we all kind of know what we want to do. We want to be athletic trainers, but maybe some want to be in the professional area. Maybe some want to be, I want to work the Olympics, or those type of things. So if we can tie the material specifically to their interest, that's important. So in our next presentation, we'll talk about the last two parts of building internal motivation, the A and the R, autonomy and relatedness.